Have you ever opened your bank account on a Friday night, stared at the number, and thought, how am I working this hard and still feel this broke? You are not imagining it, and you are not alone. Across the country, in cities like Dallas, Phoenix, Atlanta, and Minneapolis, millions of Americans are quietly running the same calculation in their heads. The paycheck hits, rent eats 1/3, groceries eat another, the car payment, the insurance, the streaming bundle, the deductible from last month's doctor visit, and suddenly the raise you got last year feels like it never happened. Here is the truth. Wall Street will not tell you. The official inflation numbers say prices rose around 3% last year. But the price of eggs, the price of car insurance, the price of a starter home in a decent school district, those have doubled, tripled, in some cases quadrupled since 2019. So today, we are pulling back the curtain. Using the latest data from the Federal Reserve, the Census Bureau, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we are going to look at the real money stats of the average American. Some of these numbers will shock you. One of them might explain why you feel the way you feel. And the last one will completely change your perspective. Let's begin. The first lie Americans tell themselves is about income. According to the latest U.S. Census Bureau report, the median household income in the United States is approximately $83,730. That is the household number, the total of every paycheck under one roof. But when you look at individual workers, the median individual income is closer to $48,000 a year, before taxes, before health insurance premiums, before the 401k contribution, before life happens. Now, here is where the magic trick begins. Politicians and news anchors love to talk about the average American income, the mean. And the mean household income in this country is over $141,000. Wait, what? How can the median be $83,000 and the average be $141,000? The answer is one word: skew. When Jeff Bezos walks into a bar with 99 random Americans, the average net worth in that bar suddenly becomes $1 billion. Nobody else in the room got any richer. The math just lied to you. The top 1% of U.S. earners pull the national average up so violently that it stops describing real life. The average American does not exist. The median American is the one you actually pass at the grocery store, and that person is making $48,000 a year and wondering where it all went. Now let us talk about the silent thief. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, total U.S. credit card debt has crossed $1.28 trillion. That is a trillion, with a T, an all-time record. The average credit card balance per American cardholder now sits at approximately $6,715. And the average American household carries closer to $10,000 in revolving plastic. But the balance is not the killer. The interest rate is. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reports that the average credit card annual percentage rate in the United States has climbed to roughly 24%. 24%. A number that, if you tried to charge it in some states 50 years ago, would have been called loan sharking. Let me show you what that means in real life. If you carry that average balance of $6,700 and you only make the minimum payment every month, you will end up paying back somewhere around $15,000 over the life of that debt. You bought a couch for $800 and you will pay $1,900 for it. You bought a tank of gas and you are still paying for it 3 years later? This is the trap, and the people who designed it are very, very good at their jobs. Now, here is the statistic that genuinely shocks even people who study this for a living. The Federal Reserve, in its 2024 survey of household economics and decision-making, asked a simple question. If you got hit with an unexpected $400 expense today, could you pay for it with cash? The answer? Roughly 37% of American adults said no. 37%. That is more than 1 in 3 of your neighbors who could not handle a flat tire, a broken refrigerator, or an emergency room. Co-pay without borrowing, swiping, or selling something? Now, $400. That is 1 tire, 1 trip to urgent care with a deductible, 1 car battery in February. And here is what nobody talks about. There is a biological cost to this. When you live 1 paycheck away from disaster, your nervous system never fully turns off. Your cortisol stays elevated, your sleep gets worse, your decisions get shorter and shorter. You start choosing the 24% interest payday loan because the eviction notice is louder than the future. This is not a character flaw. This is the math of stress. And it is happening to roughly 100 million Americans right now. Okay, but maybe Americans are still wealthy on paper, right? According to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, the median net worth of a U.S. household is approximately $192,900. That sounds, honestly, not bad. Nearly $200,000 in the bank. Except, it is not in the bank. The invisible villain in American wealth is this. The vast majority of that net worth is locked inside one asset: the family home. Two-thirds of U.S. households own real estate, and for the median family, home equity makes up the lion's share of their entire balance sheet. The high-yield savings account is small. The brokerage account is small. The 401k is small. The house is everything. Which leads to a uniquely American condition. We call it house rich and cash poor. Your zip code says you are middle class. Your refrigerator says you are broke. You are sitting on $300,000 of equity and you cannot afford to fix the furnace. You did not get poor. You got illiquid. Now the part that keeps financial advisors up at night. Financial planning firms like Fidelity recommend that by the time you are 60 years old, you should have roughly 8 times your annual salary saved for retirement. For a median earner, that is somewhere north of $650,000. The actual median 401k balance for Americans aged 55 to 64? Approximately $87,000. 87,000? Not 650? 87? If you draw that down at the recommended 4% per year, that gives a 60-year-old roughly $350 a month of retirement income. $350. That is one tank of gas and a phone bill. That is it. This is why Social Security is no longer a supplement. For tens of millions of Americans, Social Security is the entire retirement plan. And anyone who has looked at the Social Security Trust Fund projections knows that math is also under pressure. Now, before you close this tab and go cry into a pillow, I need to give you the perspective shift. Take a step back, way back, all the way out to the entire planet. According to global income data from the World Bank and the World Inequality Database, an American earning just $34,000 a year sits comfortably in the top 10% of earners on planet Earth. A household making the U.S. median, $83,000, is in roughly the top 3% globally. Read that again. The broke American, the one drowning in the cost of living, the one who cannot cover the $400 emergency, is statistically wealthier than 90% of human beings who are alive right now. This is not meant to make you feel guilty. It is meant to make you feel something else. Context. The problem in America is not poverty in the global sense. The problem in America is the gap. The gap between what you earn and what your zip code expects you to spend. The gap between the lifestyle your neighbor is performing on Instagram and the lifestyle your bank account can actually afford. So here's the takeaway. Wealth in the United States is not really an income game. It is a psychological game. The median American earns more than almost anyone in human history. And yet, the median American cannot cover $400 cash. Why? Because of two silent thieves. Inflation, which steals from your dollars while you sleep. And lifestyle creep, which steals from your future every time you deserve a small upgrade. The wealthy people in this country are not the ones with the biggest paychecks. They are the ones with the biggest gap between what they earn and what they spend. So tonight, before you go to bed, take 1 minute, open your banking app, look at your real number, and ask yourself one question. Am I building the gap or am I closing it? Because in America, that is the difference between feeling broke at $80,000 and feeling free at 50. If you like this video, hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.